So Adam, and thus Eve to him replied, O glorious trial of exceeding love, illustrious evidence, example high, engaging me to emulate, but short of thy perfection, how shall I attain, Adam, from whose dear side I boast me sprung, and gladly of our union hear thee speak, one heart, one soul in both, whereof good proof this day affords, declaring thee resolved, rather than death, or aught than death more dread, shall separate us, linked in love so dear, to undergo with me one guilt, one crime, if any be, of tasting this fair fruit, whose virtue for of good still good proceeds, direct or by occasion, hath presented this happy trial of thy love, which else so eminently never had been known. Were it I thought death menaced would ensue this my attempt, I would sustain alone the worst, and not persuade thee, rather die deserted, than oblige thee with a fact pernicious to thy peace, chiefly assured remarkably so late of thy so true, so faithful, love unequalled. But I feel far otherwise the event, not death, but life augmented, opened eyes, new hopes, new joys, tastes so divine, that what of sweet before hath touched my sense, flat seems to this, and harsh. On my experience, Adam, freely taste, and fear of death deliver to the winds. So saying, she embraced him, and for joy tenderly wept, much won that he his love had so ennobled, as of choice to incur divine displeasure for her sake, or death, in recompense for such compliance bad, such recompense best merits. From the bough she gave him of that fair enticing fruit with liberal hand. He scrupled not to eat, against his better knowledge, not deceived, but fondly overcome with female charm. Earth trembled from her entrails, as again in pangs, and nature gave a second groan. Sky lowered, and muttering thunder some sad drops wept at completing of the mortal sin original, while Adam took no thought, eating his fill, nor Eve to iterate her former trespass feared, the more to soothe him with her love society, that now, as with new wine intoxicated both, they swim in mirth, and fancy that they feel divinity within them breeding wings, wherewith to scorn the earth. But that false fruit far other operation first displayed, carnal desire inflaming. He on Eve began to cast lascivious eyes, she him as wantonly repaid, in lust they burn, till Adam thus 'gan Eve to dalliance move. Eve, now I see thou art exact of taste, and elegant, and sapience no small part, since to each meaning savour we apply, and palate call judicious. I the praise yield thee, so well this day thou hast purveyed. Much pleasure we have lost, while we abstained from this delightful fruit, nor known till now true relish, tasting. If such pleasure be in things to us forbidden, it might be wished, for this one tree had been forbidden 10. But come, so well refreshed, now let us play, as meet is, after such delicious fare. For never did thy beauty, since the day I saw thee first and wedded thee, adorned with all perfections, so inflame my sense with ardour to enjoy thee, fairer now than ever, bounty of this virtuous tree. So said he, and forbore not glance or toy of amorous intent, well understood of Eve, whose eye darted contagious fire. Her hand he seized, and to a shady bank thick overhead with verdant roof embowered, he led her nothing loath. Flowers were the couch, pansies and violets and asphodel and hyacinth, earth's freshest, softest lap. There they their fill of love and love's disport took largely, of their mutual guilt the seal, the solace of their sin, till dewy sleep oppressed them, wearied with their amorous play, soon as the force of that fallacious fruit, that with exhilarating vapour bland about their spirits had played, and inmost powers made air, was now exhaled. And grosser sleep, bred of unkindly fumes, with conscious dreams encumbered, now had left them. Up they rose as from unrest, and each the other viewing, soon found their eyes how opened, and their minds how darkened. Innocence, that as a veil had shadowed them from their knowing ill, was gone. Just confidence and native righteousness and honor from about them, naked left to guilty shame. He covered, but his robe uncovered more. So rose the Danite strong, Herculean Samson, from the harlot lap of Philistine Delilah, and waked shorn of his strength. They destitute and bare of all their virtue, silent and in face confounded, long they sat as struck and mute, till Adam, though not less than Eve abashed, at length gave utterance to these words constrained. O Eve, in evil hour thou didst give ear to that false worm, of whomsoever taught to counterfeit man's voice. True in our fall, false in our promised rising, since our eyes open we find indeed, and find we know both good and evil, good lost and evil got. Bad fruit of knowledge, if this be to know, which leaves us naked thus, of honour void, of innocence, of faith, of purity, our wonted ornaments now soiled and stained, and in our faces evident the signs of foul concupiscence, whence evil store, even shame, the last of evils. Of the first be sure then, how shall I behold the face henceforth of God or angel, erst with joy and rapture so oft beheld? Those heavenly shapes will dazzle now this earthly with their blaze insufferably bright. Oh, might I here in solitude live savage, in some glade obscured, where highest woods, impenetrable to star or sunlight, spread their umbrage broad and brown as evening. Cover me, ye pines, ye cedars with innumerable boughs hide me, where I may never see them more. But let us now, as in bad plight, devise what best may for the present serve to hide the parts of each from other, that seem most to shame obnoxious and unseemliest seen. Some tree whose broad smooth leaves together sewed and girded on our loins may cover round those middle parts, that this new comer shame there sit not and reproach us as unclean.